Once upon a time, in a quiet little town nestled between tall hills and a sparkling river, there lived a young boy named Finn. Finn was no ordinary boy. He had a heart full of adventure and a mind filled with dreams of distant lands and epic quests. Every night before bed, he would imagine himself as a brave explorer, venturing through mysterious forests, scaling towering mountains, and discovering lost treasures. But in reality, Finn's life in the town was much quieter than his wildest dreams. One sunny afternoon, while Finn was playing by the river with his dog, Rusty, something extraordinary happened. As he skipped stones across the water, he noticed a strange shimmer beneath the surface. Curious, he knelt down for a closer look and saw something sparkling in the river. Without a second thought, Finn rolled up his sleeves and reached into the cool water. To his amazement, he pulled out a small, shining object. It was a smooth, round stone, but not just any stone. It glowed with a faint, golden light. "What do you think this is?" Rusty Finn asked his dog, who wagged his tail in excitement. Rusty, being a dog, didn't answer, but Finn could tell from his wide eyes that this was no ordinary find. As Finn turned the stone over in his hands, he noticed something engraved on its surface. It was a symbol one he had never seen before, a strange, swirling pattern that seemed to pulse with energy. Suddenly, the stone grew warm in his hand, and before he knew it, the world around him began to change. The trees and hills of his town blurred, and a rush of wind swept through his hair. Rusty barked in surprise as the landscape around them transformed. When the wind died down, Finn found himself standing in the middle of a dense, ancient forest with towering trees that seemed to reach the clouds. "Where are we?" Finn wondered aloud, looking around in awe. Rusty sniffed the air, equally curious. Before Finn could figure out what had just happened, a voice spoke from behind him. "You found it, haven't you? The Stone of Eldara." Finn spun around to see a tall, cloaked figure standing at the edge of the trees. The figure pulled back their hood to reveal an old man with a long silver beard and kind eyes that twinkled with knowledge. "Who are you?" Finn asked, clutching the glowing stone tightly in his hand. "I am Aldrich, the keeper of the forest," the man said, smiling. "And you, young Finn, have been chosen by the Stone of Eldara for a great quest." A quest? Finn's eyes lit up with excitement. "What kind of quest?" Aldrich stepped closer, his eyes serious now. "Long ago, this land was protected by 4 magical stones, each one placed in a different corner of the kingdom. But over time, the stones were lost, and without them, the land's magic began to fade. You have found the first of these stones. But there are 3 more to be recovered. It is said that only a brave and true-hearted adventurer can reunite the stones and restore the magic." Finn's heart raced. This was the adventure he had always dreamed of. "I'll do it," he said eagerly. "I'll find the stones and restore the magic." Aldrich nodded approvingly. "I thought you might say that. But beware, young Finn, the journey ahead is dangerous. The stones are guarded by ancient creatures and hidden in places that only the bravest can reach." "I'm not afraid," Finn said, puffing out his chest. "I have Rusty with me, and together we can do anything." And so the adventure began. Aldrich handed Finn a worn, leather map that showed the locations of the remaining stones. The first stone, the Stone of Winds, was hidden in the Skyreach Mountains, a towering range of peaks far to the north. With the map in hand and Rusty by his side, Finn set off on his quest. The journey to the Skyreach Mountains was long and difficult. Finn and Rusty traveled through dense forests, across wide plains, and over rushing rivers. Along the way, they met all sorts of creatures, some friendly, and some not so much. One evening, as they camped by a small fire under the stars, Finn heard a rustling in the bushes. He grabbed a stick, ready to defend himself, but out stepped a small, blue creature with large ears and bright, curious eyes. "Don't be afraid," the creature said in a high-pitched voice. "I'm Tilly, a forest sprite. I saw your fire and thought you might need some help." Finn lowered his stick, intrigued. "Help? With what?" Tilly fluttered over and pointed at the map in Finn's hand. "I know the way to the Skyreach Mountains. It's dangerous up there, but I can guide you." Finn looked at the tiny creature and then at Rusty, who wagged his tail in agreement. "All right," he said, "you can come with us." With Tilly leading the way, the journey became a little easier. She knew all the shortcuts through the forest and even helped Finn and Rusty avoid a pack of wolves that had been following them. After days of traveling, they finally reached the base of the Skyreach Mountains. The peaks were so tall that their tops disappeared into the clouds. "The Stone of Winds is at the very top," Tilly said. "But be careful, the wind is strong up there, and the mountain is guarded by a fierce creature called the Wind Serpent." Finn felt a shiver of nervousness, but he was determined to complete his quest. "We'll make it," he said confidently. "Come on, Rusty." Together, Finn, Rusty, and Tilly began the climb up the mountain. The higher they went, the colder and windier it became. The wind howled through the rocks, trying to push them back, but Finn pressed on, gripping the Stone of Eldara tightly in his pocket. He knew it was guiding him. As they neared the summit, the sky grew dark, and a terrible roar echoed through the air. Finn looked up to see a massive, serpentine creature circling the peak. Its scales shimmered like silver, and its wings beat against the wind, creating gusts strong enough to knock trees over. "The Wind Serpent," Tilly squeaked, hiding behind a rock. Finn knew he had to be brave. "Stay here," he told Tilly. "I'll face the serpent." With Rusty at his side, Finn climbed the last few steps to the summit. The Wind Serpent swooped down, its eyes glowing with power. "Who dares climb my mountain?" the serpent hissed. "I do," Finn shouted, standing his ground. "I've come to retrieve the Stone of Winds and restore the magic to this land." The serpent laughed, its voice like the wind itself. "You think a mere boy can defeat me? I have guarded this stone for centuries." But Finn was not afraid. He pulled the glowing Stone of Eldara from his pocket and held it high. "I have been chosen by the stones," he said boldly, "and I will reunite them, no matter what." The serpent hesitated, its eyes fixed on the glowing stone in Finn's hand. "Very well, brave one," the serpent finally said, lowering its head. "You have proven your courage. Take the Stone of Winds, and may it serve you well on your journey." With a mighty roar, the Wind Serpent vanished into the clouds, leaving behind a shining stone that floated gently into Finn's hands. It was the Stone of Winds, glowing with a soft blue light. Finn grinned from ear to ear. He had done it. He had faced the Wind Serpent and won. Tilly and Rusty cheered as Finn held the stone high. But Finn knew this was only the beginning. There were still 2 more stones to find, and many more challenges to face. With the Stone of Winds in his pocket and the map in his hands, he set off on the next leg of his journey, ready for whatever lay ahead. And so, the boy who had once dreamed of adventure became the hero of a grand quest, traveling through enchanted lands, meeting magical creatures, and unlocking the secrets of a forgotten kingdom. But no matter how far he traveled or how dangerous the path became, Finn knew one thing for certain: he would never stop until the magic was restored and his kingdom was safe once more.